DIY.
Rapper Yo Gotti, entrepreneur, was here for an interview with Earn Your Leisure. And he expanded upon something that had me scratching my head at first because I'm like, how could this be so? Yo Gotti says streaming is better business than selling physical CDs. What? How? When you got to get 1 million streams to get half a eaten penny.
So what's your thoughts on streaming in this day and age?
I actually like streaming better than how it was, when it was just physical CDs. 'Cause I think that for multiple reasons, I think that the replay value of a record today, I think, is way more current and stays up than when it was on a physical CD. I feel like if you scratched up your CD and lost it, was you really going back to the store to buy the CD over and over and over again?
Now, when I watched this the first few times, I thought he was just referring to streams versus physical today, which I think there's a better argument for because you're entitled to run your business how you run it. It's a really interesting statement because it's like, you're talking about the times where CDs were $20. You're talking about the times where you could get your single off $3 or $4, $5, especially if it's cassette CD. You talking about that time where there was more money?
I feel like you don't got to deal with it. You just pick up your phone and you can listen to that song from 10 years ago whenever you feel like it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? As the world gets smarter, also people get lazier. So I don't think a core hard Gotti fan is going to buy this CD 10 times over.
If you're talking about a diehard fan, you'll make those extra purchases. Your diehard fandom doesn't just drop off. I scratched my CD twice. No, I know that my favorite artist was Andre 3000 when I was growing up, still is, and Outkast in general. I went and bought back CDs because there was a necessity for me to have one that was unopened and a necessity to have one that I actually played. But that's not the majority of people. And as you'll start to see here, this sounds like more of the perspective of somebody who's reasoning from the vantage point of an exec.
But I think you will listen to it on your phone whenever you feel like it or you get in the mood. Go back 20 years if you want to, right here at your fingertip. So I like the idea of streaming. I think it's been some research too that showed that catalog performance performs better with streaming, I think.
I could see that. Now, see, this is where some of the points in it I did agree with, and that streaming did give some benefits to artists, especially artists that had deep catalogs, especially artists that may have had deals with defunct labels or didn't have the funding to properly push out physical versions of their earlier music. Now, through utilizing a WAV file or MP3, you can put your back catalog up. You can take it from cassette tape, convert it and put it up there and make it available to people who otherwise would have never experienced it unless somebody had a physical copy. So yes, I do see the benefit in that, but I also, after watching the video of the artist that we covered, was talking about why she's not putting her music on Spotify.
It's also true that my experience of listening to music is very different, even with the artists I absolutely love. I don't cherish the work in the same way. New releases are quickly forgotten about or not even gotten around to in the first place.
There's another side of that, in that the habits of listeners, even the way that they value music, is so dramatically different. It's lowered because I can access it at any time. I remember when I first got the Wiz Khalifa, OJ and Kush, and it was finally not just on Dat Piff, it was finally on streaming. I played it, and I took like 2 songs off of it that I really wanted to have some replay value on, put it in a playlist, and I haven't listened to it since it came out. DIYers, exciting news. I'm finally building a live performance room right inside of my house. With your help, I want to slowly turn this room into a space I can give you live music performances, guest music appearances, and even more incredible content. But I need your help. Support this vision of independence through my Patreon at patreon.com/Curtis King. Together, let's step into the future of live music. Now back to the content.
So I ain't got no issue with streaming. I actually like it. I think we just got to keep working on it to make sure we get our fair share of the business off of it.
Spoken like somebody who probably making a whole lot of money right now having artists signed to him. Isn't Glorilla signed to him? Shout out to Yo Gotti. Yo Gotti's in full exec mode right now. In order to say what I'm saying right now, I've had to do a lot of growing. Because there's a version of me that have been like, man, F all that. They paying a third of a penny for 1 million streams. That's not the truth. I'm just exaggerating. That's the part of me, the artist within me. But the more that I conduct business and the more that I make unwise decisions versus wise decisions, the more I understand why a Yo Gotti may say something like this. CDs have a whole lot more overhead than uploading an MP3 to a distributor. Artwork, the graphic designer, is also another expense, because when you're talking about a CD, you're not just talking about one page insert. You're talking about a booklet, a photo shoot that has to go along with that. Now, with him owning his label, with him having artists on his label, you're able to compact what costs so much. It may not make sense for him to have physical copies, especially if he has artists, younger artists with younger demographics that don't buy CDs. Especially if they're looking at the music as just like, yo, I heard of this artist from TikTok. Their only connection to me is this one song. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Even putting up a single, especially when folks don't have CD players like that. But when we're talking about DIYers. When we're talking about DIYers, independent artists, those who are on the front line talking to fans, those who are doing shows at dive bars, at local venues, at local festivals. When we're talking about those kind of artists, physical is probably the most important thing that you could have, whether it's physical merchandise, bottle openers, I've sold those before with my logo on them, t-shirts, sweaters, even selling like flash drives. There's a few different folks that make this. But look, you could literally take 20 of these and depending on the size, put your whole catalog on there. But you can customize it with your logo. So instead of somebody saying, man, how can I follow you? Bro, put a notepad that has hyperlinks to your websites, to your social media. Go there, they put that into their laptop, which people still have laptops. Hello. Put that into their laptop, they got your whole situation. You can even put your zips in there as well. Even if it's just a card that has a QR code on it, that can do so much more damage because people have to have some kind of action to move towards if they've never heard of you. Put your whole set list on a playlist on Apple Music, Spotify, or whatever. Put your whole set list, all the songs that you did. Then take that hyperlink from whatever playlist you chose, get it printed up and made on Canva. Put it on a card with a QR code on there. Then that way, people can either take a card, scan it, get every song that they heard on that show mix, and they can actually do something with it right there. Add the album to their playlist. Or you can give them now what I think is the equivalent of a business card in the form of an album. I'm going to give you this because I know that you're going to treat it differently, especially if I've made some kind of an impact on you. For us, that's part of our life force. So when you hear things like this, it's important, I think, artists and producers, think about the source it's coming from, because it may make a hell of a lot more sense for them not to do it, but not necessarily for you and I. Don't let this deter you from having physical product. As people are changing their decisions of who they support at what shows, and they start looking in the direction of independent artists and producers to co-support, you're gonna be very, very pissed off when you kill a show, make an impact, and when somebody says, man, I love what I heard up there, where can I find your stuff? You'll be disappointed if all you could do was share your Instagram. Get your physical up. Those are my thoughts, though. What are your thoughts on this? DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Don't get greedy. Peace.